It doesn't start with a headline. It starts with a sentence you're not supposed to hear. Princess Elara, disciplined, loyal, feared for precision, finally says the words the palace trained everyone to swallow. The Queen knew. Not guessed. Knew. And the moment that confession leaves her mouth, the monarchy's air changes. Because if the late Queen Regina had a private opinion about Maren, it wasn't just personal. It was a warning, and someone buried it. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. The palace reacts the way it always reacts. When truth threatens to become a story, it collapses inward. Diaries shift without explanation, as if the day itself is being rearranged to outrun consequences. Aides stop speaking in full sentences and start speaking in fragments: moved, cancelled, private, later. Phones don't ring, they vibrate. Doors don't slam, they close softly. Because soft closure looks like order, and order is the only thing the institution can still sell when it's afraid. A privacy lockdown doesn't look dramatic from the outside. Inside, it feels like oxygen being rationed, and the taboo Elara just broke is older than any crown. The private views of a deceased monarch are treated like sacred relics kept in velvet boxes, referenced indirectly, never weaponized. Because the dead queen can't clarify, can't deny, can't soften. Her words would sit there like a verdict, immortal and uncontested. That's why Elara's confession lands like a spark near paper. If Regina truly had an opinion about Maren, and that opinion was buried, then someone decided the Queen's voice was too dangerous for the living to hear. Elara is not emotional by nature. She is institutional by training. She measures her words the way others measure risk. That's what makes this moment so unnerving, because it means she has reached the end of her restraint. She is institution first, yes, but she is also brutally honest, and honesty in a palace is a form of violence. Behind her calm is a guarded fury, the kind that comes from years of watching the same pattern repeat, discomfort renamed as unity, warnings dismissed as stress, power moves disguised as duty. Elara has swallowed more than most people will ever know, and now she's done swallowing. Maren, meanwhile, has always been framed as necessary. Polarizing, optics savvy, permanently aware of what the public sees and what the public forgives. Her supporters call her practical. Her critics call her calculating. But everyone agrees on one thing: she understands leverage. And if Regina had a private opinion about Maren, it threatens the one shield Maren relies on: legitimacy through repetition. Because the palace can ask the public to accept a consort, it cannot ask the public to ignore the late Queen's warning without looking like it's hiding something. Then there's King Cedric, torn in 3 directions at once. Spouse, sovereign, son of a legacy he cannot rewrite without consequence. Love pulls him toward protection. Duty pulls him toward stability. Guilt pulls him toward silence, because silence is easier than admitting that the institution has been managing truth like it manages schedules. Cedric's face doesn't have to change for Elara to know he understands the danger. He understands the power of the late Queen's voice. He also understands that once that voice enters the public bloodstream, it can't be extracted. Elara foreshadows proof, and that's when the room truly tightens. A sealed note, an archived remark, a recorded briefing that was never meant to travel beyond a trusted circle. The palace isn't terrified of rumors, it's terrified of receipts. And Elara's final beat hits like a cold bell. There's a line Regina wrote that was never meant to surface. Not a thought, not a feeling. A line. Something precise enough to quote, something sharp enough to cut. And once Elara confirms a hidden line exists, the question becomes terrifying: what did the Queen fear would happen if people knew? Queens rarely insult. They annotate. They don't say, "I don't trust you." They say, "Be careful." They don't say she's dangerous. They say, "She's capable." Regina's private language was always measured because measured words survive. And Elara insists Regina's thoughts about Maren weren't emotional. They were strategic. The kind of strategy that only appears when a monarch believes a threat isn't outside the palace, but inside it. Royal subtext is a discipline, not a vibe. It's the art of placing a warning inside a compliment so it can't be challenged without revealing the fear behind it. Regina mastered that art. When she wanted caution, she didn't demand it, she planted it. A phrase delivered lightly, a pause where others would laugh, a polite observation that sounded harmless until you noticed how often it reappeared around the same name. Elara remembers it clearly because Elara is built to remember. Regina would never say, "She doesn't belong." Regina would say, "She's adapting quickly," and the room would feel colder. Because adapting in royal language doesn't always mean thriving, it can mean infiltrating. Regina would never say, "Watch her." Regina would say, "Keep her informed." And the people who understood would hear the real instruction, "Keep her contained." That's the split Elara is trying to force into daylight: Maren's public image versus Regina's private concerns. In public, Maren is framed as necessary, as stabilizing, as the consort who modernizes the monarchy's emotional tone. But privately, Regina's language turned sharper, quieter, more precise. Elara insists it wasn't personal dislike. It was pattern recognition. A monarch watching influence grow in the wrong places, watching access become expectation, watching the palace's center shift without any formal vote. And every time Regina wrapped her warning in politeness, she made it survive. Because politeness is what gets archived. Politeness is what can't be called a feud. Politeness is what outlives gossip. Cedric, caught between love and legacy, denies it the way kings deny anything that threatens domestic peace. She didn't mean it that way, he tells himself. He tells others. He turns Regina's annotations into harmless observations, because the alternative is admitting the late Queen was issuing strategic cautions about his own household. Denial becomes self-protection. If Regina's words were warnings, then Cedric ignored them. And if he ignored them, then the palace is living with the consequences of his choice. The twist is the part that keeps Elara awake. Regina's language matches later containment protocols. Not perfectly, Regina never wrote like a bureaucrat, but the intent aligns. The phrases Elara heard in private briefings, the routine security justifications, the coordination excuses, the way restrictions could be applied without saying why, it all echoes Regina's restrained cautions. Elara remembers being tasked with monitoring harmony, which is palace code for managing risk without naming it. She was told to soothe tensions, to keep rooms calm, to prevent misinterpretations. She didn't realize she was being trained to carry a warning forward without ever speaking it. And that's why Elara never wanted to be the messenger. But she's tired of watching history get rewritten by whoever speaks loudest. She carried Regina's warning like a stone in her pocket, heavy, constant, invisible to everyone else. And now, with the palace shifting again, Elara does the one thing she's avoided for years. She chooses truth over comfort. The risk isn't scandal. The risk is civil war inside the family. Elara lives two lives. The public one is disciplined straight spine, controlled face, unwavering duty. The private one is protective fury, sharpened by memory. She remembers earlier palace chaos, when peace meant silence and silence meant somebody else got to control what happened next. She remembers how quickly family becomes faction when fear enters the bloodstream. And she remembers the instruction she was given, the one that turns her stomach now: never speak Regina's line out loud. Never quote it. Never let it become a sentence people can repeat, because once a warning becomes repeatable, it becomes unstoppable. A confidant told her the truth years ago in a single brutal phrase: once you say it, they'll rewrite you. They'll call you emotional. They'll call you bitter. They'll call you disloyal. They'll turn your warning into your flaw. And for a long time, That fear worked. It kept Elara compliant. It kept her useful. It kept her quiet. But Elara's resolve hardens because she understands the trade now. Silence doesn't protect the monarchy. It protects whoever is winning. And Elara is done being managed, done being used as a firewall between truth and comfort. She is willing to lose favor to save integrity, willing to be painted as cruel if it means the palace stops pretending it's harmless. Then the cliffhanger arrives clean, cold, and personal. A message delivered through the kind of channel that proves it comes from inside. If you reveal it, you lose everything. Not we disagree. Not be careful. Lose everything. And in that instant, Elara finally understands what Regina understood, too. The palace doesn't fear feelings. It fears proof. Because if a queen wrote risk assessment, then Maren wasn't family in Regina's mind, she was a variable. And when the palace threatens Elara personally, she realizes the truth isn't just sensitive, it's weaponized. Here's the part the palace can't spin. Regina left a trail. Not for the public, never for the public, but for the people she trusted to protect the institution when she was gone. Elara says the truth wasn't spoken, it was written. And written truth is the most dangerous kind, because it survives grief, outlives loyalty, and can't be silenced by a press statement. Unless someone gets to it first. The palace calls it archiving. Elara calls it a vault. Because a vault isn't built for nostalgia, it's built for containment. Private notes folded into official folders. Margin remarks that look like harmless annotations until you realize they're warnings. Restricted correspondence filed under administrative labels so no one panics when it's moved. This is where Regina's real voice lived quietly, deliberately, hidden from the noise of duty. Elara knows the vault system the way soldiers know terrain. She knows which drawers are never opened in daylight, which keys are carried by people who never appear in photographs, which documents are described as personal precisely because personal is the easiest excuse to keep something powerful out of reach. Elara's claim is simple and explosive. Regina's opinion about Maren is in that sealed cache. Not a rumor passed between cousins, not a dramatic outburst, a measured record. The kind of record Regina would leave only if she believed the institution might need protecting from itself. Elara doesn't describe it as judgment. She describes it as instruction language written for the people who would still be standing when the queen was gone and the palace would start rearranging truth for comfort. But the moment Elara touches the edge of that cache, the air changes. Because the institution has always treated Regina's private words like relics, unless those words threaten someone's position, then the twist hits with surgical cruelty. One page is missing. Not a whole file, not a whole letter. One page. The kind of theft that suggests intelligence, not chaos. The kind of absence that doesn't scream, but whispers. Someone knew exactly what to remove. Elara feels it like a bruise you can't stop pressing, because missing pages don't disappear on their own. They are taken. Intercepted. Edited out of history with the confidence of someone who believes they have the right. That's the emotional beat that sharpens Elara into something colder. Regina anticipated betrayal. Not because she was paranoid, but because she understood the palace's oldest pattern. When the truth threatens stability, the palace doesn't ask whether the truth is right. It asks whether the truth is useful. Regina left a trail because she knew someone might try to bury her voice after she was gone. Elara realizes the warning wasn't only about Maren, it was about what happens when the monarchy chooses comfort over integrity again. Cedric's guilt sits at the center of it all, even if he isn't the thief. Because Cedric enabled a system that can alter records while calling it protection. He allowed exceptions. He allowed special handling. He allowed the palace to treat private words as a resource to manage instead of a truth to honor. And when Elara presses the vault issue, the palace's response is immediate and familiar: containment mode. The fixer appears not with shouting, not with threats in the open, but with calm, practiced language. For dignity, for stability, For the Queen's memory. The phrases sound noble until you realize they're designed to stop questions, not answer them. Elara pushes anyway, and what she finds feels like Regina reaching from beyond the grave and grabbing her wrist. A red page, marked in harsh, unmistakable authority. Non-negotiable. Not a suggestion. Not a preference. An order, written to survive arguments. Elara's stomach tightens because she understands what that label means in a palace. Someone already tried to negotiate it anyway. Cedric doesn't explode when Elara confronts him. He pauses. And in a palace, a pause is a verdict with the sound removed. Because if Cedric truly didn't know, he would be furious. If he approved the suppression, he would defend it. But he does neither. He goes quiet like a man weighing which truth would destroy him less. And Elara realizes the worst possibility: Cedric didn't lose control. He surrendered it. Royal silence becomes policy in real time. What isn't denied becomes permission. Cedric's guilt leaks through that silence, not as an admission, but as a pattern. Small exceptions became a habit. A habit became a structure. Cedric tries to speak in softened language: privacy, reverence, national stability, but Elara hears the fear underneath. Fear that the missing page will reveal not just what Regina thought, but what Cedric allowed others to do with her thoughts. Elara's pain cuts deeper than anger, because she finally sees how she's been outmaneuvered inside the very family she served. She served the institution first, and the institution used that loyalty as camouflage for its edits. Maren's stance hardens the moment Cedric hesitates. She positions herself as survival. She implies Regina feared change, that Regina's caution was outdated, that what the monarchy needs now is coordination and modern control. It's a classic inversion: turn the late Queen's restraint into weakness, and turn Maren's reach into responsibility. But the twist that breaks Cedric's composure lands quietly. He admits he has felt managed by advisors clustered around Maren. Guided. Handled. Nudged toward decisions that arrived pre-shaped. Cedric doesn't say it proudly. He says it like confession without absolution. Brother-sister loyalty fractures under duty, because duty demands silence, and Elara has stopped being able to carry it. She forces the question back into the room: who touched the vault? Who removed the page? Who decided Regina's words needed editing? Cedric orders a review and audit, accountability, records, then hesitates, then rescinds it minutes later. The reversal is the loudest thing Cedric says all day, because it tells Elara the palace isn't simply afraid of the truth, it's bargaining with it. Because when a queen labels something non-negotiable, it means someone already tried to negotiate it anyway, and once a review is ordered and erased, Elara understands the palace isn't avoiding truth, it's negotiating it. They call it the institution, but it behaves like a living organism protecting itself, attacking threats, shedding weak limbs. The moment Elara's claim surfaces, the Shadow Court doesn't ask if it's true. It asks how it can be used. Anonymous sources appear, friendly journalists get context. And suddenly Regina's private opinion becomes a political grenade, because whoever controls it controls the story of legitimacy itself. This is where the real monarchy lives, not in ceremonies, but in networks. Press handlers who know which words calm markets and which words start fires. Advisors who can reroute a decision with a small clarification. Donors who don't just give money, but expect access in return. Legal fixers who can make a scandal unactionable with a single technicality. The Shadow Court doesn't march, it circulates, and the moment Elara's warning becomes public oxygen, the organism responds like an immune system: identify the threat, isolate it, discredit it, neutralize it. The first wave comes as soft leaks, timed insinuations that feel like gossip, but are engineered like weaponry. A hint here. A wink there. A quote from an unnamed palace source who insists Elara is overstepping, unwell, emotionally compromised. not directly accusing her of lying, just suggesting her motives are contaminated. That's how the shadow court works. It doesn't need to prove you wrong. It only needs the public to feel unsure long enough for the institution to reset. And the smear narrative is always the same, because it always works. Elara is bitter. Elara is personal. Elara is angry that she isn't in control. The palace takes a disciplined woman and tries to rebrand her as unstable, because unstable people don't get believed no matter what they're holding. At the same time, Maren is positioned as modern stability, and Regina is quietly framed as old fear. It's subtle, it's polite, it sounds like progress, but the subtext is brutal. The late Queen's caution is outdated, and Maren's consolidation is necessary. The institution paints itself as evolving, while it does the oldest thing it knows how to do: control the story. And here's the twist that makes the air go colder. There are factions that benefit no matter which version wins. Some want Maren protected because she's a shield for their own influence. Some want Maren weakened because her fall creates vacancies they can fill. In a palace, even morality can be leveraged. Even outrage can be rented. The emotional cost hits the family the way it always does, through distance. Communication collapses into intermediaries. Elara doesn't get a call from Cedric. She gets a briefing. Maren doesn't respond directly. She responds through a clarification. Rooms that once felt like family spaces begin to feel like offices with better furniture. And when the palace stops speaking person to person, it's because person to person allows truth to slip through. Intermediaries prevent that. Intermediaries keep everything editable. Then the cliffhanger arrives as a whisper from a courtier who isn't trying to frighten Elara, only to warn her. If that line becomes public, we sacrifice Elara. The phrase hangs there like a ritual. Not we protect her. Not we investigate. Sacrifice. Because the organism has decided which limb it can lose to save the body. And Elara understands immediately what that means. It means they're preparing a storyline where she becomes the problem, so the institution can pretend the problem is solved. Rowan inherits more than a title. He inherits unfinished wars. When Elara reveals Regina's private view, Rowan hears it as both a warning and a burden, because it forces the question every heir dreads: who was truly protecting the crown, and who was protecting themselves? Rowan wants stability, but he can't unlearn what Regina allegedly believed. And the worst part, he suspects she was right. Rowan lives two lives too. The public one is composure, steady face, controlled language, ceremonial patience. The private one is alarm, because he can see the machine moving around his father like water around stone. He watches how Maren appears where she needs to appear, how she makes proximity look like duty and influence look like inevitability. He recognizes the narrative discipline, the way statements are phrased to deny tone, not intent, the way silence is used as permission, the way unity is offered as a weapon, not a comfort. And Rowan's moral fork becomes unbearable: protect Cedric's dignity by burying Regina's warning, or protect Regina's legacy by dragging the buried line into daylight. The twist is personal enough to make Rowan's hands go cold. He finds his own name used to justify the suppression language, suggesting it was done for Rowan, for the heir, for stability. He realizes the monarchy used unity as camouflage, turning family protection into an excuse for institutional control. That realization lands like grief, because it means Rowan's future has been used as cover for decisions he never made. And now, if he pushes back, the Shadow Court will frame him as ambitious. If he stays quiet, the palace will keep engineering his reality until he inherits a throne surrounded by invisible strings. Rowan begins considering governance reform that would limit consort influence not as punishment, but as firewall. Who controls calendars? Who controls briefings? Who controls access? Because Rowan understands the truth doesn't need to be destroyed if it can be delayed. And delay, in a palace, is domination. That's when the cliffhanger reaches him in the form of a sealed note, no signature, no flourish, only the kind of warning that suggests someone is trying to save him from a trap. Don't trust the archive. And once sacrifice is discussed out loud, Elara realizes the palace is choosing survival over honesty again. And if the archive can't be trusted, then the truth isn't just hidden, it's being engineered. Elara follows the paper trail and finds the darkest truth. Maren may not be the mastermind. She may be the face. Because the deeper Elara digs, the more the suppression looks like a system designed to survive any one person. That's when she finds the signature trail leading to someone everyone trusts, the stability architect, praised for keeping the monarchy afloat. And suddenly, the question isn't what did Regina think? It's who decided you'd never hear it. It starts with the dullest evidence and ends with the loudest conclusion. Chain of custody logs that don't match themselves. Dates corrected with the kind of confidence only official access can carry. Witnesses reassigned right after they saw something they shouldn't have seen. It's not chaos. It's choreography. Elara recognizes the institutional fingerprints immediately because she's spent her entire life inside this machine. In a palace, the truth doesn't get destroyed first, it gets organized, categorized, softened, and filed somewhere that makes it harder to find. That's what this looks like. Not a cover-up made of panic, but a cover-up made of procedure. Then she notices the timing, and the moral unease deepens into certainty. The suppression wasn't random. It was synchronized with key public events, moments when the monarchy needed unity to look effortless, when the consort needed proximity to feel normal, when the king's image needed calm more than it needed honesty. Every time Regina's private line could have surfaced, something else conveniently happened, an address, a tour, a crisis that demanded attention. The palace didn't just hide the warning, it buried it under louder headlines, using duty as a curtain. Elara realizes the institution wasn't protecting Regina's dignity, it was protecting control. And the stability architect benefits from every part of the arrangement. Cedric's hesitation keeps him dependent. Maren's positioning keeps her useful. Elara's silence keeps the organism healthy. The architect, praised as the person who keeps everything afloat, becomes the quiet center through which reality is filtered. When Cedric doubts himself, the architect offers reassurance. When Maren needs legitimacy, the architect offers structure. When the family threatens to fracture, the architect offers a story that glues it back together, whether that story is true or not. Elara finally sees the pattern. The architect doesn't govern with force. They govern with narratives and access, with what gets scheduled and what gets erased. The emotional gut punch lands when Cedric, privately cornered by Elara's findings, admits something he can barely tolerate hearing in his own voice. He was handled. Not attacked. Not betrayed openly. Handled, guided through small exceptions that became permanent. Cedric's shame isn't theatrical. It's devastatingly human. He realizes he signed off on processes he didn't fully understand, trusted people who spoke in the language of stability, and now his mother's voice has been edited inside his own reign. For a moment, Cedric isn't a king. He's a son who failed to protect a legacy. Elara doesn't respond with comfort. She responds with precision. Because comfort is how the palace survives. Precision is how it changes. She prepares a final reveal proof, packaged for maximum impact. Not a rant, not a meltdown, not a family quarrel. A clean trail. A timeline. A sequence of corrections, reassignments, and convenient distractions that shows the suppression wasn't incidental, it was designed. And she knows exactly what will happen when she moves. The palace will call her bitter, emotional, overstepping. They will try to turn her integrity into a personality flaw. They will smear her so they don't have to answer her. Rowan is forced into the same brutal fork the monarchy keeps sharpening for its heirs, family peace or institutional integrity. Protect Maren publicly and betray Regina privately. Protect Regina's legacy and detonate the image the palace sells to survive. Rowan can feel the cost before he pays it. He can also feel the trap. If he sides with Elara, he becomes destabilizing. If he sides with the palace, he becomes complicit. There is no clean choice. There is only the choice that survives. Then the cliffhanger arrives, and it proves Elara is right about one thing above all. The enemy isn't outside, it's inside. A message appears brief, cold, unmistakably authoritative: stand down. No debate, no justification, just the kind of order that assumes obedience is automatic. It comes from the stability architect, the person everyone trusts, the protector who claims to keep the crown safe. And Elara understands what that really means. The protector isn't protecting her. The protector is protecting the system that edited the queen. By the end, nobody is innocent, not Cedric, not Maren, not even Elara, because once you expose secret power, you become part of the power game. Regina's private opinion forces the monarchy into its oldest choice: protect the institution's image or protect the institution's integrity. And Cedric learns the cruelest lesson of kingship: sometimes the crown survives only by sacrificing the person who tried to save it. Elara confronts the stability architect and discovers the most terrifying villain is the one who doesn't look like a villain at all. Respected, praised, spoken of as essential, the architect speaks in careful language about continuity and confidence, about not letting private interpretations damage the monarchy. Cedric, drained and cornered, finally admits the dark rule the palace breathes: we survive by controlling stories. The line lands like a confession and a curse, because it explains everything: why Regina's warning was edited, why Maren's role was protected, why Elara is now the disposable limb. Maren's fate stays ambiguous because palaces rarely punish the people they need. She may be weakened publicly and empowered privately. She may step back while her infrastructure remains. Or she may emerge quietly triumphant because the machine still runs on her positioning. Rowan reforms governance anyway: calendar authority, audit power, access reforms, because he understands that if the system can erase a queen's voice, it can erase anyone's. Elara is left alone with Regina's legacy, feeling the weight of doing the right thing in an institution that rewards survival, not morality. And then the final sting appears: 4 leaked words that spread faster than any official statement. She warned us. It's small, but it's nuclear. It implies Regina wasn't surprised. It implies the palace ignored her. And the viral question hangs in the air like a blade aimed at the audience: did you notice what wasn't denied? Because denial is reserved for what can be disproven. Silence is reserved for what remains useful. And when the protector orders Elara to stand down, she realizes the enemy is inside the palace's own defense system. And if you think this was the end, look closer, because palaces don't bury secrets. They plant them, waiting for the next generation to inherit the roots. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.